What's going on, friends? Welcome to the Mercado Podcast. I am Mike Mercado. Thank you so much for taking some time and listening to us today. It is Saturday, August 13th, 2016, and it's a really easy, laid-back type of atmosphere here, guys. Real simple. We're just going to hear and chit-chat. A lot of times, hopefully, we're going to have co-hosts, guests, things like that, other interviews that we've done. But the main thing is to just talk, to use this platform to get some stuff off my mind, talk about what's going on in pop culture and everything in general. Obviously, if you follow me on Twitter at mmercado2333 or subscribe to us on the YouTube page at MikeMercado2333, we have a lot of cool things that we're working on. We have the audio editorials. We have the Mercado Top 10s. We have so many cool things that we have coming down the pipeline, and the Mercado Podcast is just one of those things. And just to kind of give you some context or an idea of what we do here, I'm not ashamed of one of the first things I learned at media school was to steal shamelessly. In other words, take what other people have done and make it your own. Don't steal right out, but take what you admire, what has driven you to this part of your career, and do something with it. And I love radio, podcasting, videoing, all these different types of content that people put out nowadays. I've always been a huge fan of listening to sports radio. Back in the day, for what is back in the day, for me in 2004, when I was, 14 years old during summer and we wouldn't have practice anymore, I'd be chilling in the room playing a video game, and I'll have Dan Patrick on back when he was on ESPN, or listening to Jonathan Hood at nights on The Score back when he was there, and then so on and so forth throughout the years, always being into and eventually getting into this career. I love that type of stuff. And right now, all I listen to are podcasts or content on YouTube. Some of the biggest inspirations that I have right now in this part of my career would be like the great people at Collider Videos. I think they do some of the most awesome work. John Campia does some awesome work. I love the guys at Easy Allies, formerly of Game Trailers. There's just the guys of Ring Rust Radio who do stuff for Bleacher Report and other different outlets. They all bring passion and knowledge and just day-to-day, fun talk. The Schmoes Know guys and gals, they're all amazing. There's so many countless people. Obviously, if you're a video game nut, somebody like Matt Pat. I love things like that. I love when people get to spread their wings and try different outlets. And that's what we're going to do here. That we're taking what they've done and we're just making it for us, for me. Obviously, you know how much I love doing this type of stuff. You can listen to my outreach show, Outreach Radio Chicago, on WSBC 1240 AM Chicago, Thursday nights at 10 p.m. And we're doing that for the community. And it's because I love, A, helping people out, and B, being able to do what I love with what I love doing. And it's such a cool thing. So I want to thank you guys so much for being a part of this journey and all the other stuff that we are working on. So let's get right into it. What has happened the past week or so. Right away, I'm a big movie guy, obviously. And one of the things that came out was the Rogue One trailer. And it was really interesting. This movie comes out in December. And, in the middle of August, the first real trailer finally comes out. And it's just more, to me, what I found. Obviously, I thought it was a really well-done trailer. We didn't get plot point by plot point, but we got the idea, right? Like, it's a very easy concept. They're making the Death Star. The rebellion needs to get it. Pretty plain and simple, right? And you got the tone of how the movie's going to feel and what your emotions are going to be in general throughout this movie compared to the regular saga films. And, of course, at the end of the trailer, you see Darth Vader. We all knew, at least anybody in the movie community, online community, knew this was coming some which way. We all had a feeling it was. And we don't really see him, but we hear the Darth Vader breathing, and we see the back of him in front of, like, this projector. I believe it's probably going to be in the Death Star. So some pretty cool stuff there. We finally got a trailer, and I'm very excited for this movie. Very excited to see what Gareth Edwards does with this, and if they live up to the idea that they said that this is a Star Wars movie. Very interesting. Are we getting Saving Private Ryan in the Star Wars universe? Very interested on that. What else we got here? All right, so I'm also a huge sports fan, and the NFL preseason finally has kicked off after the Hall of Fame game was canceled. I'm a Bears fan, guys, and the Bears got smacked around by the Denver Broncos. I don't really take too much into preseason, to be honest with you. To me, it's a lot about who stays healthy and whether or not these teams gel. But I'm so excited for September. I believe it's September 9th is the first game, but September 11th, the first Sunday of the NFL season, the regular season. And with the NFL regular season starting right around the corner, that means it is fantasy football time. I am a fantasy football nut. I have 3 teams. I have a survival league. I have a confidence league. I love football. I love competitive gaming like this, specifically against jerk friends that I have and family members that I absolutely love, but I cannot wait to beat down this coming up season. And throughout the show, we're going to do a lot of that. You're going to see fantasy updates and a lot of people who are going to be on the show play fantasy football too with me in different leagues and in the same leagues. So it should be some fun stuff. But I actually have a question for you guys, and I want you guys to turn it on me and tell me what you guys think about this. Is football as fun without fantasy football? Because last year with the Bears struggling, to say the least, it was not as fun to watch a lot of different games. Like, I was catching myself watching a lot more of the Red Zone channel and being interested in other teams in the league. And I find that the most fascinating about fantasy football is how I care about every single game. Everybody does. Every game matters. And not just for the season, but literally every game matters. Every play matters, because it could change the difference between you winning and losing a week, you winning and losing a season. And I know, under the table money being swapped around, we won't tell anybody. It's a big deal. It's a lot of money sometimes. So I'm so excited for the football season to start, and obviously it's going to carry us right into October, where hopefully my Cubbies, your Cubbies, our Cubbies, who have been absolutely dominating, lost to the Cardinals right now, but absolutely dominating since the All-Star break, since friggin' April. So excited to see that. So can't wait to talk more fantasy football and regular football on the Mercado Podcast. And speaking of sports, are any of you watching the Olympics? I used to be such a huge Olympics fan. One of my career goals was to one day cover an Olympics. And then you see some of the stories that are happening in Rio. And then you also see, maybe guilty by association or not even for their own fault, because it's not. But when you see what happens for the World Cup, these kind of big events, how the poor are ignored and money and the citizens are just taxed so heavily. Then you get sucked into some of these stories and these performances. It's such a hard one. It's a hard one to, as a sports fan, to really have a strong, I wouldn't say not a strong opinion, but to have a definitive opinion about it. Because then I could be on my high horse and tell you, don't watch this, you know how corrupt it is. And I'm the first one watching the U.S. gymnastics team or the basketball team, right? Rooting on for the gold medal. But I'm very interested. How many of you are watching Michael Phelps stack up the gold medals? Let me know on Twitter at mmercado2333. Please comment here on the video. We're on YouTube /MikeMercado2333. So please subscribe to us. We really do appreciate it. So some other fun stuff that came up this week, at least for me. I got into this discussion. I'm about to start Star Wars Lost Stars on Audible. Is that the same as reading? I had the argument that one of my coworkers down at the radio station believes that is reading. It can't be. You're not physically reading it. When I'm doing, the one thing I learned from the Star Wars Audibles, they put a lot of money into the production. So you're listening to this high production type of thing. And it's not like you sitting there reading chapter by chapter on the sofa with the lamp on and a cup of tea. I think it's two totally different things. I think it's two totally different ways of media content, which I think there's absolutely room for both. So I want to know what you guys think. I think it's very funny. The special lady, Nicole, is an avid reader. I just got her the new Harry Potter book. So I'm going to ask her this question, and I want to see what she says. I'll let you know on the next podcast exactly what the answer is. But please let me know, is Audible the same thing as reading? I mean, I think it's great. I think there's room for both, but I want to know what you guys feel about Audible. And is it like a cheat sheet? Do you feel bad about it? Do you feel the same satisfaction as you have you actually picking up and reading a book? Very interesting. All right, finally, guys, before we head out of here, I wanted to talk about one more thing. So, like I said earlier on in the podcast, I take inspiration from a lot of different talents. I love watching so many different outlets and so many different medias. So, for example, I listen to the people at Easy Allies or Game Informer. I think they do some great work. I think they're very informed. Obviously, the people at IGN, and you see what they do. And one thing I'm very much into is video games. I have been my whole life, from the Super Nintendo, GameCube, Sega, so on and so forth. That, I could try to show you my credentials. You don't want to hear it. It made me wonder, do I love playing video games? Do I still love them? I spent over 30 hours playing Dark Souls 3 a little while back. And I don't know if I had fun with it or not. It's a great game. I can tell you it's a great game. I can tell you the art's amazing. I can tell you the mechanics, the tone, all of it. I can tell you it's top notch. But I wasn't having fun with it. And I have a GameFly account. So I had another video game come in finally when I was done with that one. And it was TMNT, Mutants in Manhattan. Absolute garbage. Played it for 5 minutes. The special lady was out there with the special dog. And it was garbage. And obviously, I did the review of Telltale, Batman, and I love video games, and there's so many that still to this day get my attention, and I love them, and I get enthralled in them. Are video games dead to me at this age? Because I don't sit there and play video games the same amount like I used to, and granted, I get it. It's because of work and just life in general, but at what point do you stop playing, right? Like, is there just going to be a day where you wake up and it doesn't, kind of like toys or trading cards or things like that? And I want to know from you that are listening that are part of my age group at 26. And is it because I have an Xbox One and there's only X amount of good games for the console? Right now I have the Super Nintendo hooked up also on this big TV right next to the Xbox One, and I take more enjoyment out of playing those games than I do my Xbox One most times. Is that nostalgia? Is that quality? I don't know. Very interested, especially you guys who listen to the show specifically. I know you're in my age group. I know you guys like this type of stuff. So please let me know. Are you still interested in playing video games? Are you only using these consoles now for YouTube and Amazon and Hulu and Netflix? Is it now the new cable box? I want to know exactly what you guys think. But that'll do it for us, guys. It's a very short podcast. It's the first one. We wanted just to get you out there and see exactly how it is that we're going to do this thing. Of course, we're going to have guests on over the next few podcasts. I'm very excited to have that on. It should be some cool stories, some cool times. Thank you so much for supporting everything that we're doing. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at mmercado2333. Please subscribe to the YouTube page at MikeMercado2333. You can see all the cool shows that we are doing there. A Mercado Review, the Mercado Top 10, Outreach Radio Chicago, and all the other cool projects we have coming down the pipeline. Thank you guys so much, and we will see you on the next episode of the Mercado Podcast.
If you would like more from the show, follow Mike on Twitter at mmercado2333. Subscribe to the YouTube channel at MikeMercado2333. And listen to Outreach Radio Chicago with Mike Mercado Thursday nights at 10 p.m. on WSBC 1240 AM Chicago.